All right, lesson 15 of the workbook of A Course in Miracles, day 15 of the year-long journey into the Course, deep into the depths of the Course. Here we go. Lesson 15 is, my thoughts are images that I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. Paragraph 1. It is because the thoughts you think, appear as images that you do not recognize them as nothing. You think them, and so you think you see them. This is how your quote-unquote seeing was made. This is the function you have given your body's eyes. It is not seeing, it is image-making. It takes the place of seeing, replacing vision with illusions. 2. This introductory idea to the process of image-making that you call seeing will not have much meaning for you. You will begin to understand it when you have seen little edges of light around the same familiar objects which you see now. This is the beginning of real vision. You can be certain that real vision will come quickly when this has occurred. Paragraph 3. As we go along, you may have many quote-unquote light episodes. They may take many different forms, some of them quite unexpected. Do not be afraid of them. They are signs that you are opening your eyes at last. They will not persist because they merely symbolize true perception, and they are not related to knowledge. These exercises will not reveal knowledge to you, but they will prepare the way to it. Paragraph 4. In practicing the idea for today, repeat it first to yourself and then apply it to whatever you see around you, using its name and letting your eyes rest on it as you say, "This blank is an image that I have made. That blank is an image that I have made." It is not necessary to include a large number of specific subjects for the application of today's idea. It is necessary, however, to continue to look at each subject while you repeat the idea to yourself. The idea should be repeated quite slowly each time. Paragraph 5. Although you will obviously not be able to apply the idea to very many things during the minute or so of practice that is recommended, try to make the selection as random as possible. Less than a minute will do for the practice periods if you begin to feel uneasy. Do not have more than 3 application periods for today's idea unless you feel completely comfortable with it, and do not exceed 4. However, the idea can be applied as needed throughout the day. All right. This is lesson 15. Remember, let's just go over some of the lessons that came before. We had this whole little section or subsection from starting with lesson 10 on meaning, using the word mean or meaning. We had my thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 10, we had lesson 11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Then we had lesson 12, I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Then we had 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. And then 14, kind of the climax of that, and the grand finale of that little section is God did not create a meaningless world. Right? So whatever I see with the body's eyes is meaningless, but God did not create a meaningless world. Now this is preparing us for the idea of what Jesus calls the real world. Right? The real world is when we see the world through the eyes of love or through the eyes of forgiveness. Let's say through the eyes of forgiveness, we see things clearly, and we see everything, that everything is in perfect divine order. We're still in the world of perception, but that perception is real perception or true perception, and that prepares the way to go beyond perception entirely to what Jesus calls knowledge, right? Then we're ready for knowledge, which goes beyond perception. And knowledge seems to be a state that goes beyond duality, right? Goes beyond perception, which perception is always, there is a subject and there is an object. There is a perceiver and there is a perceived. Knowledge is beyond perceiver and perceived, beyond subject and object. Paragraph 1, my thoughts are images that I have made. Paragraph 1 is because the thoughts you think appear as images that you do not recognize them as nothing. You think them, and so you think you see them. This is how your quote-unquote seeing was made. This is the function you have given your body's eyes. It is not seeing, it is image-making. It takes the place of seeing, replacing vision with illusions. Now, this is a very deep idea, and very, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it justice, but essentially the idea is, as Jesus says later in the Course, the body was not made by love, right? The ego, the body and the world and all other bodies, right? Everybody is part of this ego thought system. So the body, almost by definition, was made according to this ego thought system, based in that tiny mad idea of separation, which is an impossible idea, never really happened, right? That there could be separation. That's the atonement principle. There is no separation. Separation does not exist. But because we think it did, because we are in a body, and bodies were made to witness to the illusion, Jesus is trying to help us to recognize that any thoughts that we're having that are coming through the body, through the eyes, the physical eyes, are not our real thoughts, right? It's not our true reality. These are thoughts that are coming to witness to the illusion. Paragraph 2, this introductory idea to the process of image making that you call seeing will not have much meaning for you, right? This seems a little bit out there as of yet. You will begin to understand it when you have seen little edges of light around the same familiar objects which you see now. That is the beginning of real vision. You can be certain the real vision will come quickly when this has occurred. Now, I got to get out of the way now, I think, because my wife and child are here. So I'm just gonna I just want to finish this video. Where's Sonny? Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, buddy. How you doing? I'm just gonna finish the video and then I'll be in. Okay. What? That's our new car for a moment. All right.
You're kidding.
Nope, I'm not kidding. All right, so what I was going to say about this, if you're still with me, is, some people point to this and they say, this is, they point to this idea and that you find in this lesson where Jesus says, this will not have meaning until you start to see little edges of light around the same familiar objects which you see now. Now, what is, maybe I should go, let me go to the other part. Get out of the way of, what does Jesus mean when he says that, right? Is that to be taken literally? Like you're going to see little edges of light around objects. Now, I don't think he does. I'm going to try to explain why we don't want to take that literally. Okay, going from one card to the next here. We don't want to take that literally, and I'll explain why. Here's what he says in the next paragraph. He says, as we go along, you may have many light episodes, and that's in quotations. They may take many different forms, right? So these light episodes in quotation may take many different forms. Some of them quite unexpected. Do not be afraid of them. They are signs that you are opening your eyes at last. Now, what I think he's really getting at, we don't want to take this seriously, that you're going to start to see light around objects. Now, you might actually. Some people do. Some people do awaken certain psychic channels when doing spiritual work. That's true. And Helen did that as well. Helen had psychic abilities that started to develop before beginning scribing the course. But also remember that Helen also made the commitment that I am not seeking psychic abilities. And we can go over that story. Maybe I could tell that story right now real quickly, where she found the scroll in the cave. This is a vision she had. she had this vision where she entered a cave. She found a treasure chest in a hole in the ground in the cave. She opened the treasure chest and there was a scroll. She opened the scroll, and in the middle it says God is. And she realized if she unrolled the scroll to the left, she could know all of the past, and if she unrolled the scroll to the right, she could know all of the future. But she said right then and there in her vision, she said, no, I'm going to just stay with God is, right? So she basically made that a commitment at that very moment. I'm not seeking psychic powers. I'm not seeking psychic abilities. I only want the goal, right? I'm only seeking the goal. and the voice, which later she understood to be Jesus, said, you got it right that time, right? you passed the test. So, but just to say that yeah, these light episodes might actually happen, but Jesus really means this more in a figurative or metaphorical sense. And what the word that we might use, which he does not use, but we may have these epiphanies that happen. We may have little Satori moments. You know, Satori, I think, is a Japanese Zen Buddhist idea. It's kind of like epiphany, where we have little awakenings, right, along the way, where we have little moments of awareness where we say, yeah, I did not see that, and now I see that, right? All of a sudden you see something you didn't see before. Do not be afraid of them. They are signs that you are opening your eyes at last. They will not persist because they merely symbolize true perception and they are not related to knowledge. So yeah, Jesus is really getting at, I think he's really getting at like psychic phenomena, which he says these are little signs along the way. These are little milestones, but don't get caught up in these things. They are not the goal. They're just milestones. They let you know that something is happening. They let you know that you're on your way, right? You're on the right track. And they might take the form of actual light that you see, right? And they might not take the form of light, and don't feel bad if you're not seeing light, right? That's the point I really want to make is, you know, if you're not seeing light around little objects, does not mean you're not doing it right. In practicing the idea for today, repeat it first to yourself and then apply it to whatever you see around you, using its name and letting your eyes rest on it as you say, this blank is an image that I have made. That blank is an image that I have made. It is not necessary to include a large number of specific subjects for the application of today's idea. It is necessary, however, to continue to look at each subject while you repeat the idea to yourself. The idea should be repeated quite slowly each time. Take your time, be leisurely, be indiscriminate. Don't exclude anything. I don't know if Jesus said that here, but that's what he means. You don't have to apply it to everything, but just, you know, you only have like a minute to do it. So, you know, maybe even less than a minute if you get uneasy. Paragraph 5, although you will obviously not be able to apply the idea to very many things during the minute or so of practice that is recommended, try to make the selection as random as possible. There he says, be indiscriminate, right? Don't say, I'm gonna say this pencil is an image that I've made, but I'm not gonna say this dog that my pet is an image that I have made, because I don't think it's appropriate for my pet. But Jesus is saying, no, apply it to everything. Don't think that some things are excluded. Less than a minute will do for the practice periods. If you begin to feel uneasy, do not have more than 3 application periods for today's idea unless you feel completely comfortable with it, and do not exceed 4. I think there's some humor that in that, right? Like, you know, if you feel, do 3 practice periods, and if you feel comfortable with it, do 4. However, the idea can be applied as needed throughout the day, but you can do it other times during the day. Just don't go crazy with it. Don't get obsessed with it. Don't take these things too seriously, but take it seriously enough, right? And this idea is a very important one. I think the main thing that we want to remember is this idea, this distinction that Jesus makes between creation and making, right? Only God creates, and what does God create? And creation for the Course has a special meaning. This is a special meaning to this term, not as we usually think of the word creation, but what does God create? God creates only love, because God is only love. God can only create love. What does that mean? It's for you to know and you to find out, right? Right? That no one can tell you what that means exactly. You have to. You will have the experience when you are good and ready, right? When you have fulfilled the terms and conditions, then you will have the experience and you will know what it means. But until that point, we're a little bit in the dark, and I'm not going to try to explain it, but not that I can explain it, but the point I want to make is God creates. Creation is like extension, right? Creation, God extends love. In God's creation, there's an extension of love. What does the ego do? The ego makes, right? The ego projects, right? So there's extension, there's projection, there's creation, and there's making. The ego makes and the ego projects. God creates and God extends. God can only extend love, and the ego can only project illusions, right? As long as we're following the ego, we're lost in illusions. The moment we decide to let go of the mistaken thoughts, then we have chosen to perceive rightly or perceive truly. And so now we have aligned ourselves with the Holy Spirit's thought system, which is, you could say, the mind of God, right? Because the Holy Spirit is the voice for God. God isn't in the picture, so to speak, because God does not know about duality. God does not know about the illusion. Being God, what God is, the ego does not exist, and there is no problem. There is no illusion, right? There is no separation. So the Course uses this idea of the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, because it would be inappropriate to say that God really does anything. But God creates, but doesn't create in the sense that we think of creation, because God is like eternal love, right? Eternal love just is. God just is. Right? I just told that story about Helen and the scroll. It says God is. Right? God just is and has always been and always will be, and is never changes. There's no alteration. There's no time and space. There's only perfect oneness, perfect love. So creation is a term the Course uses in a new way for the same word that we know, creation, but it's different meaning of this word. And the ego makes, right? The ego made this world. The ego made the illusion. We right now are caught in the illusion. Jesus is trying to help us to get out of the illusion, and to follow follow only the voice of the Holy Spirit, which is Holy Spirit, right? And what is it? What is the Spirit? The Spirit of love, right? Follow only the Spirit of love, and you will awaken from the dream, and you will be home again, once again. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know. Sorry for the little, not that I need to be sorry, and I'm not sorry really, but I thought I'd say it anyway, that I'm sorry for the little hiccup there. And I hope you realize I'm trying to keep it real here. And I'll see you on the brother side. May the Course be with you. Keep the faith and all that, and I'll see you. All that jazz. Rock on. See ya.